If some people rob a bank, it's likely because they desire money. If one person kills another, it's typically out of retaliation or some other odd urge. But how can one even imagine committing a crime like stabbing asses? Yes, ass. Buttocks. Bums. You heard absolutely right. But that's not the only one. We have tons of examples like this which will make you say, what? Stay tuned to the end of the video, as we are about to show you the strangest crimes done by adults. With that said, let's start today's crazy video. In this strange world, some unusual crimes occurred randomly. The fact that these criminals never explained why they committed the crimes, but they successfully grabbed the attention of the whole world. Instead of finding great criminal masterminds here, you will uncover some of the most bizarre crimes that were done for no apparent cause. Let's start with poop on the face. A Bronx guy allegedly spat human feces on a woman's face at a subway station. And no, they were not playing the Tomatina Festival with poop. Around 5:15 p.m., Frank Abrokwa approached a woman who was seated on a bench on the northbound platform of the Wakefield 241st Street subway station in the Bronx. The woman was unaware when the man suddenly struck her in the face and back of her head with human feces. It's unclear if the poop belonged to him. Abrokwa was detained and charged with harassment, threats, forcible touching, and disorderly behavior. The incident was described as a horrifying experience by the mayor, Eric Adams. The investigation revealed that the man said he had experienced a divorce a year ago, which he blamed for his overall animosity toward women, and was under stress from his profession. Well, it looks like we found a male version of Amber Heard. These folks just love to play with poops, isn't it? The next one we have, a vampire attack. First, a piece of humble advice for you guys. This is horrific, so weak-hearted people stay away. A handful of people have been hurt as a result of many incidents on New Zealand's North Island that resembled vampire bites. Over the weekend, 2 different occurrences occurred on the North Island, and each time, 2 different women were accused of biting their victims. Even though the 2 incidents were unrelated, they shared the vampire-like manner in which the victims were attacked. And one lady has been charged with reportedly biting a man's neck so hard that her teeth tore through an artery, and another woman was detained for allegedly biting another woman's ear. But wait, there are more. In a supposedly vampire-style attack that occurred in the dark on Wellington's Mount Victoria, a guy was allegedly bitten by 3 persons, and they even drank his blood. Gross. But what just happened in New Zealand? Are vampires real? If you know something about it, tell me in the comments below. The next one is super weird. The mysterious foot. A girl discovered a sneaker while exploring a beach in British Columbia in 2007. She was horrified to discover a human foot inside the sock as she unzipped it. Since then, several severed feet have washed up on shore. 5 men, 1 woman, and 3 people of unknown gender have been associated with the feet. The case has never been fully resolved throughout the years, with numerous theories floating around due to occasional false allegations. By comparing its DNA to a guy who was characterized as suicidal, the Vancouver police were able to identify 1 foot in 2008. Later, they were able to associate 2 more feet with a woman who was similarly thought to have committed suicide. Due to these discoveries, many people assume that the feet belonged to people who died after jumping off a bridge. However, some speculate that the feet were related to a plane accident on a nearby island because it was unusual for only feet to be found and no other body parts. Moving on, a Florida man was arrested for throwing an alligator. After reportedly tossing an alligator through the drive-through window of a fast food restaurant, a Florida man was detained and charged with assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. Officials claim that Joshua James hurled a 3.5-foot alligator through a Wendy's drive-through glass in Palm Beach County almost several months ago. He was also accused of petty stealing and illegally having an alligator. A man named Garen captured the alligator and released it into the wild without causing any harm to anyone. James has eventually been located thanks to video surveillance and a transaction at a nearby convenience shop. Garen claimed that James had acknowledged tossing the alligator. He claimed James had told him the alligator was on the side of the road and had been loaded into his truck. James is also accused of possessing the reptile, which is a 3rd-degree crime. He may spend up to 5 years behind bars if found guilty of that particular offense. Joshua James was allegedly picking up a Wendy's order in Royal Palm Beach, Florida at the time of the alleged incident. And for the next one, we have the infamous butt stabber. On a night in subway platforms in Forest Hills and Kew Gardens, a man was repeatedly stabbed in the buttocks by another strap hanger, but he claimed he was not aware of the attack until he got home. The 42-year-old first felt someone shove him with a hard object while he was waiting at a stop in Queens. As he boarded the train again, and 2 more times as he got off a few stations later, he reported to the police that it happened 3 more times. And all of a sudden, he discovered he had been stabbed 4 times in the buttocks when he arrived home. After receiving medical attention, he was discharged. The victim claimed his assailant followed him when he boarded the train and again when he exited at the Union Turnpike Kew Garden stop, where the victim told authorities the man repeatedly bumped into his buttocks. According to the station authority, no one has been arrested. The station noted that it is the 3rd recent knife-related assault on a New York City subway. Police were also looking for a well-dressed woman who was seen on camera riding the metro and said that she planned to cut someone and get away with it. In Brooklyn, she allegedly continued by stabbing 2 passengers. Wait, does she have a problem with butts? Why do you think she is obsessed with butt stabbing? I want the craziest theories in the comments below. Okay, moving on to The Confused Murderer. A frightening murder story from long ago has no justification other than the fact that the perpetrator felt like he had to do it. The body of 13-year-old John Wilkins was discovered in Somerset, England in March 1868. Wilkins' body was almost severed from its head, which had been pounded into a jelly-like mush. Alexander Holmes, an 18-year-old, made an effort to turn himself in for the crime after authorities found Wilkins' death. He told his landlady that he had committed murder. He also expressed surprise at not having slain more people, which she also heard from him. Holmes was cleared of charges of murder because the jury had determined he was mad. Holmes was transferred to the lunatic asylum for criminals after receiving no attention from relatives. And for the last one, we have the Zodiac Killer. Have you watched the Hollywood hit Zodiac? Watch it now if you have not. The majority of people keep their crimes secret, but Zodiac was everything but quiet. He terrified San Francisco from 1968 to 69 with his murderous rampage while teasing the police in his coded letters to the neighborhood newspaper. Despite his claims to have killed 37 individuals, he was directly involved in at least 5 murders. Betty Lou Jensen and David Arthur Faraday were discovered laying outside of their bullet-riddled automobile. With 5 gunshot wounds to her back, Jensen was discovered dead at the scene. Faraday passed away while being transported to the hospital after being struck in the head. A couple who had parked their car 4 kilometers from the crime scene was also shot, leaving one person dead and the other injured half a year later. Michael Majot, the victim's survivor, was in a position to describe the murderer. He described a white male who was 5'8" and heavyset. The only source of new evidence for the police would be the Zodiac Killer himself. The first letter from the Zodiac Killer was sent to journalists a month after the first crime. He threatened to go on a murdering spree if the letter wasn't published on the top page. The letter detailed the murders, which were all written in cryptic symbols that appeared to be a part of a code. The other letters he would send had a similar subject matter and were all signed with the symbol of 2 crossed circles. However, a teacher in high school and his wife were able to decode one of these letters. The Zodiac Killer continued to commit murders while leaving the police with maddening evidence, which is coded letters, anonymous phone calls, the cross-circle writing on victims' automobiles, sending over blood-stained clothing, and stories from survivors, but they were never able to catch him. Want to know a mind-boggling fact? Allegedly, the real Zodiac Killer himself has reviewed the movie on him on the internet. We don't know if it is true or not, but it's really mind-blowing. If you know any more facts about the Zodiac Killer, let us know in the comments below. And here we're signing off. Hope you've enjoyed the video. You can drop a like to appreciate our efforts. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and make sure to press the bell icon. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, peace.